Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So thank you so much for the comments on my last video where I talked about something that I went through in the past, and it was in reference to a covert narcissist that discarded me, and I had never talked about it on my channel. So I talked about it in the video, and everyone's just been very supportive, so I wanted to say thank you. And I wanted to keep the ball rolling with this topic because, like I said in the video, I feel like all of this is coming to the surface for me right now because this is something that I'm meant to talk about on my channel. And it all just makes sense because if you look at the first video on my channel, it's literally about being discarded by a narcissist, except in that video, I was talking about an overt narcissist, but the video that I just uploaded yesterday was about a covert narcissist. So two different things. And in my next video, I can talk about like what's the difference between an overt and a covert narcissist and why I think coverts are personally worse because they're more like the undercover sneaky narcissist. So I could definitely do a video about that. But today I wanted to talk about how a narcissistic discard is really meant to break your spirit and to knock you off your path. Like, I know that a lot of people, when they talk about narcissists and discards, they talk about it from like a psychological standpoint, which, it's good to know those things and it's good to have that information. But I feel like there is a spiritual aspect to it that I have always been able to see. I actually have a video talking about like the spiritual aspect of narcissism. If you want to go and check that out, it's really old. It's like I made it like maybe 4 years ago. But my experiences with an overt and a covert narcissist have really shown me that this is spiritual warfare. Like, it absolutely is. Even if you're someone who, like, maybe you're not religious or you don't really believe in like spiritual things and things like that, that's fine. I respect everybody's beliefs. But personally, like I said, I genuinely feel like it's spiritual warfare. And I'm going to explain to you why I think that. So when I met the overt narcissist, right? When I met him, I was basically on my way to the master's, my master's program. I was applying to, get into schools to get my master's degree in psychology. And I actually had an internship lined up at a counselor's office. Well, it was like a clinical / counseling office. I had an internship lined up. And so I was on my way, to doing that. Like, I was on my way to go and get my master's degree so that I can start, my practice. Well, I was going to end up, probably getting like my PsyD or my PhD as well. But just know that I was on my way to working in the mental health field, right? I had already graduated college and I had already gotten my bachelor's in clinical and counseling psychology. So I always knew that mental health was my purpose. Like, it's always been something that has been my path. Well, not always, but since college, I will say, because before college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But in college, when I chose psychology as my major, it clicked and it made sense, right? So mental health was definitely always going to be part of my path one way or another, and part of my purpose one way or another, right? And so I was, like I said, going to apply to these master's programs. I had a whole internship set up in another state, and I was just, getting myself ready to make that transition. I was also very excited because I was, going to be moving away from my hometown. And at that time, I was having a lot of issues with family. Like, I already told y'all in my past videos, like, I grew up as like the black sheep of my family. So naturally, there was like a lot of unresolved issues that were there. And I was, excited to also get away, like to move out of my hometown and to go elsewhere, right? So I just so happened to meet that narcissist right as I was trying to make this transition. And the way that I met this narcissist was through social media. So I just remember someone liking my pictures on social media, on Twitter, and they didn't have a profile picture at all. Like, their profile picture was just black. It was just like a black circle as their profile picture. And I'm like, who is this? Like, it was just weird that like this random person was like liking my pictures and they didn't have a picture themselves. So I went on their page and I scrolled through their pictures and I saw a picture of them. And I remember just being immediately like drawn towards them when I first saw them, right? I'm telling you, like, even if you don't believe in like the devil or demons or things like that, like, there's no denying that sometimes people who have like a darker energy, or like they don't mean you well, those are the people that you feel like the most magnetically drawn towards. Like, just think about the people who like they've just presented themselves to be the complete opposite of who they are, right? How did your relationship with that person start? I bet it started out like very magnetic, very quick, very like, oh, you know, love at first sight, sparks flew, I had butterflies. Like, that to me is an indicator of almost like a temptress, like a siren, or like someone who's drawing you in just to end up destroying you. And that's why I say, like, I feel like this is genuinely spiritual warfare. But also another thing it could be, though, is that their energy is familiar to you because maybe you grew up around that energy. Like, if you grew up around narcissistic energy and you meet a narcissist in adulthood, their energy is going to feel very compelling to you. Like, you're going to feel very drawn towards them, right? So it could be a combination of those things. Like, the man was a demon, but also I grew up around narcissistic energy. So yeah, like, I felt drawn towards him when I first saw the picture of him. So I immediately was like, oh, he's cute. And I was liking his pictures back. And then he ended up messaging me. And immediately he was just like, I don't like texting. Like, we need to FaceTime. So immediately he was trying to form like a strong bond right off the bat. Like, I don't want to text you. Like, I don't want to even talk on the phone. Like, I want to see your face. Like, let's FaceTime immediately, right? And that's how the whole thing started. That's how the love bombing started, you know? And it got to a point where like we were on the phone every day for like 12 hours a day. Like, I kid you not. This went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. We would wake up in the morning, do our hygiene routine, brush our teeth and everything else. And then we'd be right on the phone with each other, and we'd be on the phone for 12 hours straight. Like, his job and my job both permitted us to be on the phone. So yeah, we would be on the phone for 12 hours straight. Like, we were joined at the hip pretty much, even though we didn't live in the same area. So when I started telling him that I am in the mental health field and that I'm going to, I'm applying to this master's program, he immediately started to apply to that college as well, and was like, yeah, we can get a place together. We can, you know what I'm saying? Like, moving out of state together, pretty much, to live with each other and to start a life together, pretty much. And obviously that did not end up happening, obviously, because he took me through the discard phase quite quickly, like the devaluation and discard phase. Well, it wasn't really quick, but it was sooner than, it was soon enough that we never got a chance to move in with each other. Let's put it that way. So when he took me through the devaluation and discard phase, all of my plans stopped, because at that point I became very mentally ill. Like, that discard phase gave me a mental illness. Like, I kid you not. I had no signs of, and I've talked about this before, that I, in 2019, discovered that I have borderline personality disorder. And I did not have any signs or symptoms of BPD before I got discarded by that narcissist. I did not. So that discard literally gave me a mental illness, and I was not able to function any longer. So going to grad school, that was out the window. Going to this internship, that was out the window. The only thing that I could do all day was fixate on dying. That's what I fixated on every day, was death. And I remember, like, I couldn't even pray during that time. Whenever I would try to pray, like, my thoughts would just get scrambled. And it was just so much darkness, like, all around me during that time. And that's why I say, like, it's spiritual warfare without a doubt. And it got to a point where, like, everything just started to fall apart. Like, I couldn't even keep a job at that point because of the state of my mental health at that point. I could barely even be around people because of this, like, the way that my brain was just scrambled at this point. And I was isolated because no one understood what I was going through. It's like I was one person one day and then the next day I was a whole different person because they didn't understand that I had just been through a narcissistic discard, and I didn't understand it either at all. I didn't know what it was. There was no information about it on social media. Like, not, narcissist is like a buzzword now, right? Like, everyone knows what a narcissist is now. Back then, there were none of that online. I didn't know what the hell I had just experienced at all. All I knew was that this person that claimed to care about me had just done something horrible to me, like to the point where my brain was scrambled. I couldn't function. My dreams of going to get my master's and going to the internship were gone. Like, everything was just bad, and then couldn't keep a job. I ended up being homeless. That person just literally came into my life and took everything from me and just knocked me completely off my path. And that's what I mean when I say, like, narcissists, like, they're demonic, and it's really spiritual warfare. So I decided to start a YouTube channel based off of that experience. I decided to do that because I felt like I wanted to help other people who have gone through what I went through. And thank God that I ended up starting that YouTube channel, despite the fact that, like I said, I was like homeless, couch surfing, and everything else. But thank God I ended up starting that YouTube channel because it ended up helping me to recover from that discard. And it ended up helping me to find another path and another purpose, right? Like, I was still utilizing my love for psychology on my channel, but it just wasn't the path I originally thought I would be on in terms of being a psychologist and having my own practice. Like, I was still using my psychology degree and my passion for psychology, but I was just using it on YouTube. So I felt now that I had a new purpose, and it felt even more fulfilling than the old one. So I just felt like I just wanted to thank God for that, right? Like, I feel like God came through for me, and in terms of helping me with my YouTube channel and keeping me encouraged when it came to posting on YouTube. And unfortunately, shortly after that, I ended up meeting the covert narcissist. And what I will say about the covert narcissist is that this person was much more sinister than the overt narcissist. And that's because this person was much more sneaky. They presented themselves to be a victim, and they were a subscriber of my YouTube channel. Like, that's what just blows my mind, is that this person was a YouTube subscriber, and like, they would be watching my videos like, thank you so much for helping me. And like, they presented themselves to be like my subscribers. I always say I have the most empathetic, like, just amazing subscribers. Like, we've all been through like some crazy childhood trauma, some crazy ass relationships, like, but we all ended up maintaining our sense of empathy and just wanting to do good in the world and just wanting to recover and live our best lives. And so him being one of my subscribers, like, that's who I expected him to be, and that's who he presented himself to be. But the whole time he was just an agent of the devil. Like, literally. That might sound so dramatic, but I'm telling you it's not, because as soon as the overt narcissist was gone and I'm just like, I'm on my path, I don't care about that man, boom, in comes the covert narcissist who finds me through my YouTube channel, who finds me through this new purpose, this new path that I have. And it's like, just came in and really wreaked havoc in my life. Really wreaked havoc in my life to the point where I could barely even focus on YouTube. I could barely, and this is the thing too, not only did they wreak havoc in my life, they also introduced people into my life that wreaked havoc. So it's like, this person was a covert narcissist, and they introduced me to a whole group of other narcissists. Like, sometimes I can't even wrap my head around that, yo. And you know what? Sometimes I do think that the other people that I have labeled as narcissists, like, it's very possible that maybe they are just like flying monkeys, quote unquote, like the narcissists, like henchmen. But they had like narcissistic tendencies. Like, they lacked empathy. They were very cruel and cold. Like, that's why I have labeled them as a narcissist as well. But it's possible that they were just the narcissist, like henchmen or narcissist flying monkeys, and like this person was like the head honcho narcissist, right? But like I said, they presented themselves to be this nice person, this caring person, this gentle and weak person. And when they introduced me to this other group of people, they presented it as like this other group of people were abusing them. It was the most confusing thing, because it made me wonder, like, why are you introducing me to this group of people then? If this group of people is so abusive to you, why would I want to be friends with them? You see what I'm saying? Like, it didn't make any sense. And then slowly but surely it started to reveal itself that all of them were against me. And this person who was presenting themselves to be like, oh, I'm the weak victim and everyone's against me, like, they were actually feeding this group of people like lies about me, so that eventually this whole group turned against me. And they were quite cruel, quite cold, and just, I was under spiritual attack from numerous people. And like, it got to a point where this person told certain people in that group things about me, to the point where they were so convinced that I was like this terrible, toxic, evil person, that they decided that they wanted to put a hit out on me and like literally try to pay someone to kill me. I'm telling y'all, like, I'm not exaggerating when I say I've been through some demonic shit these past couple of years. And that's why I say that these narcissists, they really are, to me, agents of the devil. And when you are on your path and on your purpose, they will try to take you out, and they will recruit other people to try to take you out. And to me, it's very intense spiritual warfare. And it's to the point where I was completely off my path. I couldn't upload. I didn't want to show my face because I was so beaten down. I was so ashamed of myself. This person and this group of people convinced me that I was like ugly. I was always getting triangulated with other women. Next thing you know, I found myself comparing myself to other women, when that's not even something that has ever been in me. Like, I've always just been someone who, I feel like I have a very unique look to me, because that's how my mother taught me to be. That if you have a unique look, that, you know, comparing yourself to other people, it doesn't make sense. You know, my mother's a Leo rising. She's an Aquarius 7th house. And for those of you who know astrology, you know Aquarius 7th house, that's like someone who appreciates like unique features when it comes to beauty. So like, my mom has always been like very, she goes against the grain when it comes to beauty standards. Like in our house, you know, dark-skinned women were always put up on a pedestal, you know, while everyone else was demonizing dark-skinned women, and like society demonizes them. In our house, dark skin was considered beautiful. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were always taught to never height shame people, to never weight shame people. Like, basically, the way I was raised, it's like I didn't really ever go towards society's beauty standards. I was always taught that being unique is a good thing and to not compare yourself in that way. So the fact that like this narcissist implanted in my mind that, you know, like that I was ugly, and that like these other women were like better looking than me, and that's why I was being mistreated. It was like very just demonic and very insidious the way that it happened, because it's crept up on me so slowly, the way that they were doing this. And so naturally, like, that completely like shakes up your confidence. You think you're ugly. You think that, you know, you're not smart enough. You think that you're not good enough. You don't want to show your face. You're ashamed of yourself all the time. All you can think about is suicide. Like, I remember I asked them, is it normal that every day I wake up suicidal? And they were just like, no, that's not normal. And I was just like, then how come I feel that way though? And they were just like, yeah, I don't know. And it's crazy because I couldn't see that this was the person that was making me feel that way, because they were just so undercover with the shit that they were doing. So it's like, I'm coming to them and asking them for advice. And it got to a point where I was just completely dependent on them for my sense of self-esteem, for my validation and everything else. Like, they went from being a subscriber of mine to now I can't even upload to my YouTube channel, and I need to look to them for validation for everything, for my whole sense of self, for my own sense of self-esteem. It was demonic. I don't know how else to explain it. And if y'all saw the video that I made about this person constantly trying to unalive themselves, like, add all of that in, like me watching him constantly trying to unalive himself in front of me, mixed with all of the gaslighting, the triangulation with other women and stuff like that. Like, there's no wonder that I was just not able to function. And then in the end, I was discarded in favor of another woman. And I just feel like, again, narcissists this one specifically was sent to completely knock me off my path. And then the final discard was meant to just completely humiliate me and crush me. It was meant to humiliate me and crush me. And that's why I buried it for so long. And that's why, like, I just am now getting the courage to even talk about it, because I was ashamed of it, because it did humiliate me. You see what I'm saying? And I'm thankful that I'm the type of person who has like a warrior spirit. And I'm the type of person that the more you try to crush me, like once I realize what you're doing, I'm fighting back. Like if I know that you have purposely tried to crush me, it's like once I am aware of that, it's like I'm getting up and I'm going to rebuild my life 20 times better than what it was before I met you. You see what I'm saying? But there's so many people who don't have that warrior spirit. There's so many people who get knocked down by these narcissists and like by the discard that they never are able to get back up. They're never able to get back up. They're never able to fulfill their purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about like someone who could have like the cure for cancer, and then a narcissist comes into their life, knocks them off their path, discards them, and now they can't even get out of bed. Their dreams of being a scientist are gone. Like, you see what I'm saying? And now we don't have the cure for cancer. I truly believe that stuff like that happens. I truly believe that spiritual warfare comes into people's lives so that they cannot fulfill their purpose, and their purpose is usually to make this world a better place, even if it's not on a large scale, even if it's not like, oh, you know, you're meant to have a famous YouTube channel and you're meant to save the world like that. No, like your purpose could be that maybe you're meant to break generational curses. Maybe you're here to realize that your family has been dysfunctional, and you're going to be the one to break that curse. You're going to be the one to do your healing work. You're going to be the one to, get a partner, and, you have children, and you raise them to be healthy, well-functioning people. You see what I'm saying? Like that could be your purpose. And here comes the narcissist, knocking on your door and like derailing you to the point where now you don't even want to get out of bed. You don't even want to open up your heart and love anybody anymore. You don't even want to have kids. Maybe you had kids with the narcissist. You feel so discouraged about that. Like you feel like you failed as like, breaking the generational curses. It's like, it's so many ways that I feel like they creep into your life and just ruin you or try to ruin you. Because like I said, me being me and me having a warrior spirit, I just simply cannot allow it. And so that's why I'm feeling very encouraged, or I'm feeling very like, okay, I need to get back up and rebuild my YouTube channel. I need to get back up and just rebuild my life in general, because I just refuse to just allow people like that to knock me down. And also because I feel like it's my job as someone who's well aware of these types of demonic beings, that it's my job to inform people that these demons do exist. They do. I don't want to hear any nonsense, because there's been a lot of like nonsense online I've seen where people are like, oh, like stop demonizing narcissists. It's a disorder. You shouldn't demonize. And people like that are very unserious to me. Like either they have never been abused by a narcissist or they are narcissists themselves, because that's ridiculous to me at the end of the day. You can't tell a victim of a certain type of abuse how they feel about their experience. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, and I'll do a whole nother video about that, about like NPD and BPD and it being stigmatized and demonized. I'll do a whole nother video about that. But I wanted to give that disclaimer. Like, I find it very ridiculous and unserious when I see people like, oh, don't say that they're demons. It's not right. They're still human beings. I don't want to hear that shit. At the end of the day, like I said, I will address more of that in another video, but I said what I said. I know my experience with these people. I have seen the cold look in their eyes when it's just you and them and no one else is around, and their mask falls off, and the sick way they smile at you when you have figured out who they are, the way they will laugh at you. When my covert narcissist was discarding me, he laughed. And when I was breaking down, he laughed. And I remember I stopped and I said, why are you laughing? And this psychotic man said, I'm laughing to keep from crying because this is just so sad. I feel sad for you. You see what I mean when I say demonic? Like he was laughing as I was breaking down. And then turned it around and said, I just feel a lot of empathy for you. So I'm laughing to keep from crying. Like, that's a psychopath. And then during the discard also, the woman that he was discarding before, he kept calling me her name. Like, he was doing it on, our names do not sound alike. So, like, you see what I'm saying? It's demonic what these people try to do. They try to take you to your lowest and try to humiliate the fuck out of you so that you cannot get back up, so you cannot keep it moving. But I'm here to tell you, if you have been discarded, if you have been broken down in that way, that means that you do have an important purpose here. And important doesn't have to be like I said, it doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be, oh, you're here to cure cancer. You're here. It doesn't have to be anything big like that. It could be anything. Like I said, your purpose could be for you to start a loving family. Your purpose could be, maybe you are needing to open a bookstore, and like someone's going to come into your bookstore and get knowledge from your bookstore that they're going to take and change the world with. You see what I'm saying? Like, your purpose could be, working as like a lawyer, and you're going to help like people, like marginalized people who are being wrongfully locked up. Like, there's so many different paths you can take in terms of your purpose. And you'll know what your purpose is because it usually aligns with your passion, like things that you're naturally good at and things that you enjoy doing. Your purpose is usually intertwined in there somewhere. Right. And I could do a whole nother video about like finding your passion and your purpose and things like that. But just know that I genuinely feel like narcissists do target people who they are going to have a breakthrough. They are going to fill their purpose. They are on the right path. And a lot of people are probably going to benefit from your path and from your purpose. And I do feel like narcissists are sent to humiliate you and break you down so that that can't happen. So adopt some of my warrior spirit if you're listening to this. Get up and understand that if you're being targeted for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to be spiritually attacked and targeted unless there was something important that you're supposed to be doing. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's how I see it. I just see it as you need to get up because you are needing to fulfill that purpose that this entity has tried to stop you from fulfilling. You see? And so that's what I plan to do, is to just get back up, pick myself up, dust myself off, and keep it moving. I could stay stagnant. I could stay stuck. I could, fixate and ruminate about the discard, about both of my discards, actually. Like, I got discarded by a covert and an overt narcissist. I could feel humiliated, like, oh my God, this was a fucking subscriber that like I let into like my circle and they did this, and like you know what I'm saying? Like, I could really like fixate on that. I could start to get into like a power struggle. Like, I need to go and get revenge and take that person down. Like, how dare they? Like, I could do all of that, but I'm just like, no. Go back in your head to a time where you were on your path, where you were walking in your purpose, where you had a very clear vision about what it is that you wanted, and go back to that time, reset, and start from there. You know how like when your computer is messed up or your laptop and you can do a system reset, like they'll reset it, like your system will reset to a date that was like a previous date where your computer was actually running. So the system resets to that previous date and now it can run again. That's how I see myself. Like, I'm going back in time. I'm going back in my head to a time where I felt like I was on my path. I felt like I'm doing well. I'm helping so many people. Like, I'm on the right track. I'm going back in my head to that time and I'm starting from there. I'm starting from there and just moving forward and not allowing these experiences that I've had to continuously keep me stagnant and knock me off my square. And I know that when you're discarded, like, it can be, like I said, it's humiliating. And so it can be very tempting for you to, again, fixate on it and ruminate about it. And that's normal because when you're hurt, as a human being, when you are hurt, you are going to focus intensely on the pain because we're wired for that, right? Like, if you, hit your arm and your arm is in pain, it makes sense that your brain would fixate on that pain because your arm could potentially be broken. So your brain's going to fixate on it, like, hey, fixate on that pain just so we can make sure that we get everything like checked out and that, like, you're not walking around with like, like a serious injury. Your brain is wired to focus on pain. So don't beat yourself up for, ruminating sometimes or being fixated on it. You just have to remind your brain, like, okay, we're in the present moment now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can move forward now. We don't have to hold on to this. And I know that that's easier said than done. Like, depending on the severity, some people need more like professional help to stop with the ruminating thoughts and things of that sort. But what's been helping me, like I said, is to just really remind myself, like, okay, it was painful, it was humiliating. So naturally, my brain is going to want to ruminate on it. My brain is going to want to think about it, but I'm not going to even allow that to happen. I'm going to try my best to keep on moving forward, to rewire my brain to where I'm replacing it with like thoughts of me pushing forward. I'm creating my own reality now, because the narcissists, when they're in your life, they drag you into their reality, right? That's like, if you think about it, a narcissist, they're always living in delusion, right? That's why when you try to confront them about anything they're doing, they gaslight you, they deflect, they literally create an alternate reality for you to live in with them, right? Because you start to believe the gaslighting. You start to believe this delusional world that they created. Like, when I was with this covert narcissist, I genuinely believed that I was ugly. Like, not just ugly in terms of like the way I look. Like, yes, that I felt ugly with the way that I looked. I hated looking in the mirror when I was with this person, but not just ugly in that way. I just felt like everything about me was ugly. Like the way that I spoke, the way that I walked, the way that I talked. Everything about me was ugly, while this person felt so good about themselves. And I can insert a screenshot of this person, a message that this person sent me telling me that they can drastically see how much I've been broken down. And I always kept that screenshot because even though screenshots from years ago, I always kept it because it always reminded me that I'm not crazy. And not only am I not crazy, but this person is a self-aware demon, because this person was telling everyone that I was abusing them, right? If I was abusing them, then how come they would send me a message telling me that they can drastically see how much my self-esteem has been beaten down? If I'm the abuser in the equation, why would my self-esteem be beaten down so much? You see what I'm saying? Since when does an abuser's self-esteem get beaten down by abusing someone? No, a victim's self-esteem gets beaten down. So I can put the screenshot up just to show y'all exactly what I'm talking about. Like, this person was definitely aware of what they were doing. And I have to do a whole nother video about this, about like abusers and why they don't go to therapy, because abusers don't go to therapy because abusing you is their therapy. I'll do a whole nother video about that, but I'll put the screenshot in just so y'all can see what I'm talking about, of him being like, oh yeah, it's just a shame. I can see how much you've been broken down. And it's like, in the text, he's making it seem like I'm sad for you. Like, I'm sad that this has happened. But like, no, he wasn't sad. He wasn't sad, because you're going around telling everyone that I'm the abuser, but then you're sending me messages talking about how you're beating me down or how you're diminishing my self-esteem. But anyway, back to what I was saying. You get pulled into the narcissist reality. Now they are this larger than life, perfect person, sane person, and you're like this crazy, unstable person who is toxic and this, that, and the third. That's a delusional reality that they have created, and they've gaslighted you and beaten you down into believing as well. And so now I feel like I am recreating my own reality, and it's rooted in the actual truth. It's not rooted in the delusions of a sick, demonic person. So that's something else that after you get discarded, you have to do, is you have to start recreating and restructuring your own reality rooted in the truth, and challenging those ruminating thoughts that the narcissist has planted in you. And that includes narcissistic parents, that includes narcissistic partners, narcissistic friends, narcissistic siblings, whoever. Because no matter what the nature of the relationship is, a narcissist brings you into an alternate reality that's not real. And in that reality, you're always going to be the villain. You're always going to be the toxic one. You're always going to be the one that's too dramatic. You're always going to be the liar. And they're always going to be the one that's righteous, that's selfless, that's sane, and that's amazing. Like, they're just always coming out as like a shiny new penny, like, while you're always getting the short end of the stick in that reality. And you have to snatch yourself out of that reality and create your own, and create one that's realistic. Because narcissists don't have the ability to be realistic. They're delusional by nature. They don't have the ability to be realistic. Okay. So you have the ability to be real. You see things for exactly what they are. You see things for exactly what they are, even if your brain could be a little bit scrambled now because of all the gaslighting and everything else. At the end of the day, you're able to see the truth. Okay. And I know this for a fact because you wouldn't be on my channel if that wasn't the case, because my channel is literally built on self-awareness. Nobody who's not self-aware is going to want to watch my channel. They're not. My channel is literally about looking within yourself and healing. A person who can't look within themselves, what would they be doing on my channel? Except scavenging for supply, which is what my ex-narcissist did. But you see what I'm saying? Like, you are self-aware. So you are able to create a reality for yourself that is rooted in truth. And it's rooted in you being triumphant, because you do have the ability to be triumphant after all of this. And the narcissist doesn't want you to believe that. You know, these demonic forces want you to fixate on how you felt when you were discarded. And it wants you to play over and over again in your mind how worthless you are, because that's how you felt when you were discarded. But you're not worthless. You're not worthless at all. And that's why these entities are trying so hard to convince you that you are, because you're the exact opposite of worthless. And not only are you not worthless, but the path that you're on is going to help liberate other people and help them to feel like they're not worthless as well. You're going to help other people to feel worthy and feel valuable as well. And you'll know that I'm telling the truth, because if you're listening to this right now and you're like, man, I really needed to hear this, that's because I'm on my path. You see what I'm saying? That's because I didn't allow the narcissistic discard to stop me. If I let it stop me, you wouldn't even be listening to this right now. And this is something that you need to hear right now, right? So imagine on your path, and when you're walking on your purpose, how many people are going to need to hear what you have to say, or how many people are going to benefit from you walking in your purpose. You see? So that's all I had to say. There will be a lot more content on my channel about recovering from a discard and moving forward, empowering yourself, because I'm just ready to really wage war on narcissistic energy, because I've had enough. When that narcissist reached out to me and tried to literally blame me because their new supply cut them off, I'm like, yeah, you definitely just woke the beast in me. Like, I buried so much for so long, and it's just like it all just came to the surface. Like, the anger, the rage, and the disgust is what's going to drive me forward and help me to rebuild everything that I lost. So that's it. There will be more content. There will be more videos and whatnot about this journey. And I love you guys. I hope that this was helpful. If you want to see any specific videos, let me know in the comment section so I can add them to my video list. And I will see you in my next video.